Alright, so it's exactly been 1 month since we seeded the fields. And again, the first field was seeded at 50 pounds per acre on accident. The second was seeded at approximately 27 pounds per acre. And the last field was seeded at about 21 to 22 pounds per acre. And the final overseeding of our main hayfield was estimated at 8 pounds per acre, but it might have been closer to 5 pounds per acre. So let's take a look at the fields and see how they're growing 1 month later. Now keep in mind, these were seeded in Michigan at the middle of September. It is now the middle of October. Normally in Michigan, you want to seed at about the end of August, right before the fall rains hit. You have to seed it before it gets too cold in Michigan because we get heavy hard frosts out here that can kill newly, not yet established seedlings. So even though this grass is 30 days old, we still don't know if it's going to survive winter. So we will give you that update when spring comes again in 2019. But for now, this is the final update, 2018, on how our Persist orchard grass is doing. For those of you not familiar with Persist, it is a newer orchard grass variety. Persist is an orchard grass variety that promises to give higher yields per acre, have a high survivability rate through the coldest of winters, and be long lasting. So this is our trial with Persist. So this is what 50 pounds to the acre looks like 2 weeks later. It's coming in really good. Really good. It's all over. So let's go look at the other ones. Alright, and this one is the first field that I seeded. This one's coming in really well too. This one was seeded, shoot. I want to say probably 27 pounds per acre. Roughly. Maybe 25. The grass is still coming in beautifully. There are some areas that are probably bare. Just skipped a couple areas on accident. It's actually quite a large area. That sucks. That's a big old freaking area. But this is why it's good to have extra grass seed on hand in case you see an area that you missed. You can go through and throw some more down by hand and hope that it germinates, which I should probably do. But it's looking good. Another area that I might have missed right here. Yep. Oh man, I did a crappy job on this field. Look at that. There's another big area right there. I am not thrilled. Actually, this field looks pretty bad. It's got a lot of... This was not flat at all. Thankfully, these are small fields because if this was a large field and it was all bumpy like this, I'd probably want to shoot myself because it would be a nightmare to try to do hay from. But the grass is coming up really well, so that's what I'm looking for. I'd say it's about 1.5 to 2 inches tall. So let's go check the field in the back. Alright, here's the last field that I planted. You can see grass growing up on the hill. And it is growing out here, but just based on the angle of the sun, it's harder to see. You can see the grass seedlings out there. It's just taking a little bit longer for it to come in. It really doesn't look bad. Now, this was seeded probably 3 or 4 days behind the other field. So it's definitely harder to see, but it is there. So I'm growing. This is the field that Eric seeded, 50 pounds per acre. Now you're gonna notice first of all, exactly the width of our seeder, because right here there's a giant stripe. What had happened was when we were setting the seed cups, one did not fully seat in its groove and it popped back open as soon as Eric set it down. And so this is the full rate. So that one cup was probably dumping 100 pounds per acre. I mean, you can just see. Yeah. Oh, the rest of it looks pretty decent. Now again, the seeder did not fit the tire path of the tractor, and there are a couple of lines where we kind of didn't estimate correctly where it sat, but that'll all fill in come springtime. So I think this is honestly what killed us when we were estimating that it was seeding at 50 pounds per acre. It was this one cup was just sucking all of the seed right out. So moral of the story is definitely check your cups, and always check on your first 2 acres, because that will really establish the rest of the field. But I've got high hopes for this field. Should come in pretty good. There definitely are bare spots out here. You can see a lesser populated area out here and here, and that's simply because the field was still not fully settled when we seeded. So because we were on such a limited time frame, we were working the fields a little bit late in the year. They were very wet. These fields did not have the chance to settle correctly, which consequently results in patchy establishment. But better patchy establishment than no establishment at all, right? So let's go take a look at the other fields. Man, that certainly is looking beautiful with all the trees changing color. Yep, and this is my back orchard grass field. I don't think my overseeding job did too well on this field. I don't think I had it set well enough because I don't see any new grass popping up. Oh, wait. There's a couple guys right here. 3 little grass seeds. So I think I had it set a little too conservatively because I should have used up all the grass seed planting out here, and I didn't. But there's definitely, I mean, I definitely dropped it because you can see little guys growing here and there, but oh well, it'll fill in little by little, hopefully. So this is the new field.
One of them.
Yeah, one of them. Now it's interesting, if you look right here, you can see the very edge of this is very dark. And I think that's because it got hit twice with fertilizer. Because when I came down and I'd make the turn, I'd leave it on and then go back again. So I think it just didn't get quite enough fertilizer. And you can even see like little circles out there. It's definitely growing. Not planted as thickly as your carpet, but
It's better than overgrown crap field.
yeah. Well, I mean, this I think is looking better than the orchard grass field when we first planted that.
Oh yeah, it is.
I don't even have any pictures of it. It was so depressing. I don't even think I took pictures.
I don't even remember seeing grass come up. It was like,
It was tough. For a while, it seemed like it was 50% weeds.
yeah.
Yep. Because it was so chunky, so crazy chunky. But the field has leveled off. Okay, since many of you have been asking if we have done a soil sample report, here is the answer. We actually have over the last couple of years. The first time we did a soil sample was in 2016. So 2016, we had the one hay field, which was our main 10-acre field. We had never fertilized it or put anything down. So these are the numbers as they stood. Now, after the test results, we put down the fertilizer recommended to us by our local feed mill. So exactly a year later, we decided to go through and rip out our hay fields. They just weren't producing very good. We killed them off and we tilled them under. And this was a really bad year to do it because right after we went through and began tilling, we had a huge torrential rainfall, which soaked our 100% pure clay fields. So this is actually the analysis before we tilled the field up. So look at these numbers and remember them. So this next report, you'll actually see that there are 4 different reports on this one page. And this was taken 2 months later, almost exactly. But instead of being called renovated, it's called orchard grass. So if you read on there, you'll see Shane, orchard grass, cone, and brome. The field called Shane, that's our rented field. We were trying to figure out what the soil analysis was on that field. The orchard grass field, of course, was our newly planted orchard grass field. And this analysis was taken right after we planted it. The cone field was a field just down the road from us that we were looking at renting. And the brome field was a field that we had just planted with brome the same time as the orchard grass. This field, when we first moved to the property, was basically bottomland, and we tilled it under and planted sweet corn there year 1. The next year we decided to till under the corn and plant winter rye in that field. So then the following spring we planted teff grass in there. After the teff grass we decided to plant it full of brome, which subsequently never grew, and now we have it planted full of orchard grass. And obviously you saw that. That's the field that Eric planted, 50 pounds per acre. So let's pay special attention to the orchard grass numbers on here, because like I said, this was taken 2 months later. And again, the numbers at the very bottom are all the recommended fertilizer settings that you would want to put down. So that was last year. Now we come up to this year. This year, we did a little different. This is a full year after we had planted the orchard grass field and the brome field. And this was when we were working on the new field. So we have brome for our brome field that never grew. The new field is the one that you saw Eric tilling up. The main field, that's our main orchard grass field. And dark area. Pay special attention to the dark area. This was a large patch on our main field that was very lush and very dark and very tall. It had gotten a lot of extra something, and we wanted to know what the difference was between that area and the other rest of the field, because this was what we wanted our field to look like. So this analysis was through a different company, and you can see that it shows a lot more numbers. This one was fully inclusive on pretty much everything. And again, at the bottom, it shows you about what you would want to put down for fertilizer settings. And we did use this, and we did go through and fertilize our field a couple different times. So with this setting, we actually used a different fertilizer known as Black Label with zinc. And then we also did a round of urea with sulfur in addition. This soil sample was done after we had already fertilized our field. So this field received, we did a mix of Black Label with zinc, put down according to their recommended specifications. And then we also did another round of urea with added sulfur to it to give the grass an extra boost. And that's what we put down for this spring and summer. So as far as looking at where our 10-acre field is now in the videos, it does look a little yellow. I did call the crop production services company, and they simply stated that the only thing they would recommend putting down right now would be lime. So we ended up getting lime for our other fields, but not for the main 10-acre field. So that's still something we could look at putting down if we really wanted to. But I wanted to share it with you guys where it's at. It's going to take some work to get it where it needs to be. Ideally, I would like to put manure down, but we just don't have enough manure from our animals to be able to put down. And it's kind of hard to locate good complete sources out here in our area. But if you have any thoughts, I'm open to different possibilities. Put them down below. One item that I just recently discovered is bat guano fertilizer. So if you know anyone who's used bat guano as fertilizer, please let me know and what their thoughts are on it, because I'm not sure on the price, but it kind of piqued my curiosity. Don't forget to click the like button, and if you have not already subscribed, click the subscribe button. And always click the bell so that you can be notified whenever a new video comes out. Especially if you've ever considered planting. It might be kind of curious for you to see how this turns out. So definitely subscribe, stay tuned until next, and I will let you know how it does.